All right, we're coming down the home stretch and we're going to go over some in-home tips. And one of the things that a lot of the VPs and board members talk to me about is the lack of structure that a lot of new agents have in the house is the main reason why they're not capturing sales. They're kind of all over the place, which really allows objections to come in instead of the structure being in place and really eliminating objections up front. So let's talk about that for a few minutes. So when you're sitting down with clients, condense things into time and you'll have the right expectations. So make sure that you say, hey, I'm going to ask you, John and Mary, about 3 minutes of health questions, 2 minutes on some financial questions, and it's going to maybe take me 10 minutes to explain the different options to you to find something to meet your budget needs and is a perfect fit for your specific scenario. Does that make sense, John and Mary? Yes. So when you start to set up structure, you'll notice that the trust starts to creep in and the value is able to drive up as well. One of the things that I tell people is, I do life insurance, mortgage protection, final expense, retirement and income planning. And one of the things I do is I do traditional life insurance. And let me explain to you the difference between fully underwritten and what they call non-medical simplified issue insurance, because you filled out this form for non-medical options, but I want to explain to you the landscape so you're aware of what's available in the marketplace. Does that make sense, John and Mary? Yes. Okay. So I have their attention because I said, does that make sense? I'm always trial closing. So I say to them, fully underwritten is where I can quote you the absolute best price. The problem is when it comes down to it, because of your build, because of the medications that you're taking, because of your family history, parents dying before age 70 with ailments, etc., those prices that I would quote you would come back, 3 or 4 times higher, or potentially you'd be declined, and then it would go on your medical information bureau, which is your credit report for your health, and then it would enable you to not even get life insurance in any form or fashion, similar to a bankruptcy for several years on your credit report. So John and Mary, does it make sense why we're, I'm going to stick with simplified issue non-medical products that actually require me to ask you health questions. It will require me to understand and know the medications you're on, but it's a lot more lenient. And I know this, the price will be the price. We just need to see if you can qualify or not. So John and Mary, does it make sense why we're going to do the non-medical version versus the fully underwritten life insurance? Yes. So the key component here is once you start to explain the process to people, you start to eliminate the competition, because it's not so much about the price. It's your job as a producer now to identify the problem, because without identifying the problem, you cannot provide the proper solution. Without the proper solution, there's going to be a lot of shopping. So your job is to identify the problem. Once you find the problem, what they can actually qualify, you need to walk them through the steps of how this is going to affect them and why they need to have the coverage. So that is a huge scenario as well. The other thing I see a lot of new producers do is they may start to open up Pandora's box. What I mean by this is they'll offer multiple products at the same time. And you know what happens when you offer multiple products at the same time? Multiple products at the same time equal confused people, and confused people do nothing. So it's okay to offer different price points, 3 different price points for the one product, but it's not okay to say, hey, America offers you this and Mutual offers this, because then they're going to need to think about it. So stick with the bread and butter and understand really how to captivate, and make sure to understand that the reason why you're recommending Americo is because under age 60, we can get a full cashback offer. We can give you living benefits like chronic, critical, and terminal illness. And more importantly, if you do die, you'll get a tax-free check from the largest independently owned insurance company in the country, right? These are aspects that you need to be aware of. One of the things that I find very interesting over the years is, and hopefully we'll pop this up on the screen right now, is we sell life insurance. Your job as a producer, for multiple reasons, not only for the reasons of death, but for the reasons of living benefits, you should know the leading causes of death in the United States. So on this graph that you see right here, you'll see that before the age of 45, the leading cause of death is unintentional injury, which is an accident, okay? And then once you get above age 45, cancer is the leading cause of death all the way to age 65. And then heart is the leading cause of death 65 and above. Then it goes cancer. And then what's interesting is, as much as you might want to discount accidental death, it's still, as far as overall percentages, it's still the third leading cause of death behind heart and cancer, and then accidental, then respiratory, right? So you need to become a master at using these stats to really drive up value. So one of the things that I've done over the decade that I've been selling insurance is when I sit down with clients, I say, hey, listen, John and Mary, my job is to know the actuary tables and know your risk. So when I start to talk to you about family history, as much as we want to discount it, it's a roadmap of what probably your life is going to look like. Now, can you deter the roadmap through, the right nutrition and eating and et cetera? Yes, of course you can. But at the end of the day, the genes that we have are going to generally dictate how this works out. Now, people are living a little bit longer. Modern medicine has improved. Things are important. However, actuary tables are actuary tables, and there's a reason for them. So make sure that you understand at the certain age groups what is the number one leading cause of death, the second leading cause of death, the third, the fourth, the fifth leading cause of death, because I think that will help you drive up sales. Not a lot of people understand that, like, a brain aneurysm above age 65 is the fourth leading cause of death. Like, that's huge. And then you got diabetes. These are all things that become very important. Actually, accidental death becomes number 8 on the list when you're above age 65. So it becomes prevalent before 65, but as people, don't get out and about as much, they probably aren't going to die of an accident as much anymore. So those are critical stats that you need to be able to ramble off and share with your clients to help drive value. The next thing I would tell you is, after speaking with, Bobby Bridges at Americo, as well as Brent Bench at Mutual of Omaha, I think for the vast majority of our agents, they really don't know how to, A, sell living benefits, and then unfortunately, B, explain to the client what living benefits can do. Now, most of you might be able to have a broad overview, and I'm going to keep this very simple for you as well, but I think it's important for you to understand that, chronic illness, this is whether it's Mutual of Omaha or Americo. Now, the nice thing about Americo is they do up to 100% of the overall benefit. Mutual is 80% of the benefit in regards to living benefits. So up to 100% with Americo, if your client can't perform 2 out of 6 daily living activities, they will advance up to 100% of that death benefit. Now, when we're talking about critical illness like ALS, kidney failure, cancer, organ failure, heart attack, stroke, those are all critical illness features. Now, the key component to critical illness, but most agents don't understand, and you need to explain to your client, is when someone could have a heart attack, for example, and it might not affect their life expectancy. So what happens when the carrier underwrites the product, as long as it affects the life expectancy, they will get a check. And it depends on how long that life expectancy. So like if someone only has 8 years to live, it's not going to be the full 100%. They're going to discount it proportionally. Or if they got 5 years left, they're going to discount it proportionally. If they have 2 years left, it's going to be a different number than 5 years. So make sure you understand when you're talking to your clients about critical illness features that it's all based off of their life expectancy. Just explain that little difference will go a long way for you, and that's huge when it comes to that. Obviously, terminal illness is pretty straightforward. When you're terminal, they'll get a check up to 80 or 100% depending on the carrier, and that's straightforward. But the other aspect that I would tell you is, are you researching those factors so you can drive up value when you're meeting with a single client? And you know that they probably don't have any disability insurance. They might have short-term disability insurance at work, but they don't have any catastrophic long-term disability insurance. Living benefits can help act like it's not disability insurance. It's not short-term or long-term insurance, but it can help act like that for the client. So it's extremely important to know that 1.5 million people in America have heart attacks on an annual basis. And 500,000 of those people are below the age of 65. They're still working. That's a significant number. So because of stress, work stress, etc., over 1.5 million have heart attacks on an annual basis. Cancer, 1.8 million cancer patients on an annual basis in the US. Over 268,000 women get diagnosed with breast cancer a year. It's the leading cause of cancer is breast cancer for women. These are stats you should know so you can provide them with people, because we've said this in the past. These are important aspects. What happens is you have 5 things that you need in every sale. They need to believe in you, so they need to like and trust you. They need to make sure that your solution fits their problem, so your solution is perfect for what they're looking for. They need to have trust in the companies that you do business with and that they're going to do business with, the company, Family First Life, the carriers, Americo, Mutual, etc. And then they're going to also have a logical and emotional side to the sale. You need all 5 things to capture that entire business. So if you're missing one thing out of those 5, you're going to have trouble. Now, the logical side is you're going to make sure that inside that financial inventory, it makes logical sense. So 52% of life insurance is sold based off of income replacement. So logically, when you talk to the client about how they're going to miss, John and Mary, if John dies, what is this going to look like for you, Mary? And you X out their income on the financial inventory and you show them what it looks like. Logically, that makes a lot of sense to them. Now, the difference is where you get movement, where you get traction, where you find urgency in every single sale, where value exceeds price every single time, is purely the emotion behind everything. So if you are able to storytell, have empathy, put them in the picture, whether it's their own experience through their own family, their own friends, who's had life insurance, who's not have life insurance, let them walk through that scenario with them, paint that picture with words. The emotion's going to drive up high. They're going to check their logic. They're going to make sure they trust the carrier, your solution, and you. And when all 5 of those things align, it's a home run every single time. But the key is, with those logical areas, I really want you to start focusing on a little more facts. Because you know what? It just shows you're an expert in your field. When you start to become an expert in your field, you'll do much better. The next thing I would tell you is this. For a lot of you, you really need to become better at field underwriting. For a lot of you, you're not utilizing all the different aspects and tools that we have at Family First Life, whether it's our Next Level app that shows medications and shows carriers and shows options, whether it's all the mentor sites that we have available out there. You're not utilizing the tools for you to understand what field underwriting should look like. You shouldn't be someone in the field that's offering non-medical options and making a mistake on someone's build, submitting a product that they're not eligible for because they're too heavy. Does that make sense? You need to become a better field underwriter. You need to make sure that you understand that, if they're an oral diabetic, that their H1AC should be around 7 or below. You should make sure that if they're on insulin, that you will have to write them with Mutual of Omaha as long as they're diagnosed after age 50. These are all things that you need to know and you need to understand, become a better field underwriter, because the last thing you want to do is people are willing to do business with you. You get the shot to do business with them. And then because of a lack of you either not Googling medications, not talking to your manager, not talking to your community of producers that you have inside your own agency, you submit the wrong product, they lose interest and they don't want to do business with you. So I really want to challenge you. I know we always talk about write more business, get more business in, but I really would say is write the right business first. Don't offer things to clients that they're not eligible for. Stick with simplified issue products because that is our bread and butter. That is what we do. So become a big field underwriter and talk about specific scenarios. If you're having trouble in the house, text your upline with clients. I got a quick question about this specific scenario. They'll answer your question right away if they know you're with clients. That's the difference. You need to tell them, and that's the reason why it's important to call in the house, especially when you're new. Mark Mead always talks about running your first 100 appointments is extremely important. It absolutely is. It will tell you everything you need to know, and you'll be able to see what you need to see time and time again. It will become that much easier, because in the beginning it feels overwhelming. I promise it narrows so quickly. The scope narrows, it becomes that much easier. You'll be that much better at becoming a field underwriter. So I need you to place more business for you, your clients, your family, on all aspects. So become a better field underwriter and understand what works and what, and that comes with one thing: communication and paying attention to what you're writing, right? And don't offer a non-medical simplified issue product when they should be in a final expense category, which brings me to the next point. My next point is you need to be able to capture those unhealthy clients. So the client that had a stint put in over 4 years ago, and you have to sell my Eagle Premier product for a $30,000 face amount, but they're requesting $300,000. You need to know how to build value in that scenario. You just need to understand that 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. The vast majority of people, what's crazy is the average American retires with right around $162,000 total. So most of the people that we meet with are not in a financial position to say no to us. That's extreme. And obviously the older you are, the more money you have, the younger you are, the less money you have, the more reasons you need to have it. But the bottom line is people are ill-equipped for an early death in their family would completely lose their house. So don't believe the hype is what I'm saying. Don't believe the hype that these people have work policies or have scenarios, just like Brian mentioned in calls before, or Jonathan mentioned stealing Brian's story. All those things are very effective. The training and tools that we have really give you no excuse not to become the best version of yourself and really become a Hall of Fame producer in 2020 with Family First Life. Sean talks about having over 100 people this year. There's no question that we could at least have that many new inductees. 400,000 is achievable if you invest enough in leads and you run enough appointments and you get in front of enough people and you start to have those 5 things in every single house. You'll dominate huge. So the final last bits that I can give you is understand that trial closes work. So trial closes is just simple things like, does that make sense? Can you see why this would make financial sense for you? And making sure that you lead, guide, and direct your clients. These people need to be told what to do because they've procrastinated their whole life. They've procrastinated on whether they should do it or not. And your job is, once you drive that emotion up, they check the logic, they check the carrier in the company, they'll check the solution, they'll check you out. But once you have all 5 of those things, sales becomes that much more easy. Use trial closes. Know how actuary tables work as far as leading causes of death. Explain living benefits in a new way. Supply some data with it so they don't think that it can't happen to them, because it certainly can. It can happen more in regards to those scenarios than it can almost death. So learn how to build value with each and every type of client to help capture sales, put more money in your pocket, help more clients out, and dominate in 2020. It's the year of the takeover. I'm ready to take over. I hope you enjoyed the time. I'm happy that I was able to give you some information today, and I'll talk to you guys.